Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of LKD Talks, where we unplug and be real for a sec. My name is Emmanuel LKD, and today on this episode, we are joined by a special guest. He is a Bethany alum. He is a great guy to talk to. Welcome, Sammy Duran.
Hey man, how's it going?
Good,
Thanks for
man.
having me.
Good. So you're on your break right now, and this is the best time that we can, have a conversation and talk. Like we sent texts back and forth, and I really like some of the stuff that you were talking about of the things that were on your mind. I was
Yeah,
like, dang, like like that's real. That's real. So, and before we get into that, Sammy, can you introduce yourself to the audience about who you are, what you do, and why do you do it?
yeah. So my name is Sammy Duran. From Minnesota. Currently I work in HR, in talent acquisition. And what I do is recruit workers for our company to come and work for us from Mexico and basically bring them through a TN So that's just a little bit about what I do and all the processing behind that. Obviously, it's a whole, you do a lot of different things, but I think I like doing that because I like helping people, especially I get to work close with my people. I'm Mexican as well, so it's like, I have that joy in, having conversations with them on a weekly basis. So.
Nice. And I think from what I remember, so okay, first of all, I actually I don't think I've ever really talked to you during college or during Bethany. I think we were just kind of like separate in our own different groups or cliques or whatever. But
Yeah.
like from what I know, my friend told me that like he took a couple of comm classes with you. Like,
Yeah.
is that your major, like comm?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, so that was essentially what it was. And yeah, I mean, I didn't really, do anything with that in that way. I kind of, wanted to get more into HR. So that's kind of the experience that I'm getting into right now.
Good, good. So something that's been on my mind, just kind of repeating and reiterating what I said previously, is about how I don't know, man. I feel like how did we get to know each other? I feel like we just followed each other on Instagram and Twitter just because we're from Bethany or something like that.
Yeah, I was literally thinking about that too, because it's like you said, I mean, we never really, associated while we were at Bethany, but I don't remember one of, a mutual friend of ours, it must have been, he actually did a song with you. And it was Benoit.
Benoit, oh yeah.
Shoot, never mind. But you guys did a song together, and he told me about it, and that's kind of how I got into who you were, and then I started listening, to you on Spotify and stuff like that, and then I was like, yeah, like this guy goes hard. So that I think that's when I started following you on Instagram, and then
Okay.
Twitter. I saw you were active, and I always like having following people that are constantly active on Twitter. I find Twitter like very entertaining actually.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's how it started, honestly.
I
Like
think
us
so.
getting to know each other and who we were.
Yeah, because I feel like this is my first time talking with you, quote unquote, face to face.
Right.
Like, I don't think I've ever talked to you at Bethany or like I've seen you around, but like
Yeah.
never like, like face to face conversation, which is that's crazy. Like it took this long.
Yeah, because I think, what year did you start going to Bethany?
I started going to Bethany in 2018.
So it was going to be 2019, right?
Yeah, 2018 into 2019. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I would have been a junior when you would have been a freshman then. Because I
Okay.
graduated in 2020 and you would have been a junior in 2020, like
Okay.
that following August, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you graduated in spring 2020, like
Yeah,
during the
spring.
whole quarantine.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, that's tough.
Yeah, it was, dude. It was. It really was. It was like kind of like what the what just happened right now, you know?
Yeah, man. I've had a couple of my friends graduate during that time. They said it was so anticlimactic. It was just so sad. And I was
Yeah,
like, dang, that's tough.
yeah, it was. It was just kind of like, all right, like, you know, you turn in your last assignment, you're like, all right, I graduated. Now you gotta wait for your diploma to
Sitting
come
at
in.
home. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. That year they sent everyone like a graduation box. So when I got it in the mail, you know, I did my own little celebration there, took a shot, you know, celebrated. So it's like, hey, whatever.
Oh man. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's funny, but it's not funny.
No, it kind of is funny. Like, I have two cousins that are graduating this spring, and my mom, you know, she's gonna sneak the opportunity. She already told me she's like I want you to wear the cap and gown so I can take a picture of you because I never got a picture for your graduation because
Oh
we
dang.
didn't get the cap and gowns. So I was like, Mom, you're always just taking the opportunities when you see them. So I thought that was funny, but I mean, she wants it for memories. So she always frames up like those when she has pictures of us framed up when we got our high school diploma, and she
Mhm.
wants one of us with our college degrees. So my sister's a junior at MSU too, so she'll graduate next year, and
Oh,
that's kind of
nice.
what she's asking for is like she has those two pictures of us graduating high school and college. She's taking her shot.
Oh no, that's gonna be funny though. That's gonna be funny.
Yeah, that is.
So so I know that I said that I wanted to talk about something with you about how do you feel like there were cliques in college that just kind of made us separate from each other, which is why we probably never got to talk to each other because I was in like the media kind of group and I don't know what group you were in. I know you played soccer, right?
Yeah, yeah. Most of my time was all just kind of soccer when I was in season, and in the off season it was just workouts and go home and do homework really. So that's kind
Yeah.
of what I was. I mean, what group I was in. It's kind of like that soccer, athletic in athletic, sports group or whatever. And I don't know, man. I feel like at times they're just like, yeah, there were individual cliques, you know, or not, just very different cliques. And it's also weird though, because among in those cliques, there was also different cliques. So
Mm.
it was like, sometimes there would be, this group of people, in this team or whatever, but they wouldn't get along with the other
Oh,
group of
okay.
people on the team. So it was like, it was very clicky. I feel like it was just a lot of, that hate to say it, but it was more of that like high school atmosphere at to
Mm.
an extent because it was like it's like crazy like just like high school, it was just sometimes
Yeah.
rumors, and then that's how the division came, and you wouldn't essentially hang out with these other people because they supposedly said this and that, and it was just kind of a
Mm.
whole
Hmm.
thing. Like, I not personally in my experience, just kind of like from what I've seen, I was friends with different, people in different sports. So it was kind of like what they were mentioning. And I was like, oh, like that's weird, like,
Oh, yeah.
like how could you say that about your teammate? I mean, I honestly couldn't,
Hmm.
wouldn't say that. Like I was a captain on the team. So obviously, like number one, you really shouldn't. And I mean, that's just not who I am.
Mm, right. That's not right.
The game kind of speak for themselves. But I think it was kind of, yeah, it was very clicky. And then you had those like local students, I call them, the ones that were like private school, like their whole life, and they're like, I respect everyone for what they believe in and stuff. I'm not one to say this is wrong or anything like that. But like you had those students, and essentially they were isolated from like everyone else. At least that's what I saw at times. Like, geez, some of those religion classes, I wasn't very like into the Lutheran religion, and I mean, I would ask for help, and they would be like, no, like I'm not gonna
Really?
like straight up.
Really? Wow.
I was like,
Dang.
what? Like, whoa,
Really?
like I had
Dang.
never experienced that before, and I was like, geez, like I'm just literally asking like what you would have. answered here, and why, or I couldn't find that information of whatever I
Mm.
was looking for. So it was like, it was weird, honestly, at times at Bethany. Like, I think it was very like, it's a, click here, click there. And it kind of sets up that, well, oh no, those people are weird. Like, we don't want to hang out with them, or these people are different. I don't want to hang out with them. Or so that's kind of what I saw at my time there.
Yeah, I know what you mean too. I know what you mean because I remember like you could really tell, there were like the athletic cliques, there was the theater kid cliques, there was the um those are the first things that pop in my head. I can't think of any other
Oh
ones.
yeah, yeah, those were the ones that I was thinking about too.
Yeah.
The theater kids and I don't know, like mathematics club. I don't know. It was
Yeah,
just
arts people, but like it's
yeah,
not like like we're not saying this to bash on people. We're just saying that because it's just weird how we just never talk to people like that. Because I feel like, I mean, I don't say this to sound like uh prideful or anything, but like I try to talk to each and every, or no, let me rephrase this. When I would get to know someone individually for who they are, like one person from this, clique, one person from this clique, one person from that quote unquote clique, and you realize that everyone is really just the same, you know?
yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I did the same thing. I mean, I was one to talk with everybody, and I mean, at some point, even there was like a clique, like just international students. Like, I remember they would sit in that like private area, and I would like go in there and sit with them because I had, friends in there, and I was like, dude, like,
Mm.
let's like, let's just like not. I remember it just felt weird. Like, I was like, all the international students were in a private room, and I was like, no,
Oh, yep.
like I'm gonna come sit with you guys then. Like, I'm gonna try to break this down, like make
Yeah,
it.
like in the cafeteria, you mean? Like the
Yeah,
private,
yeah,
like,
sorry, yeah.
yeah,
And
I know what
at
you
the
mean.
BLC at the
Yeah.
BLC caf, and it was like I don't know if you remember, but there was that private, like not private, but it was like, that room. And
Excluded, just like with the doors and stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
they were all sitting there, and I was like, one day I was like, no, dude, like I'm gonna go sit in there, like friends in there, and I was like, I don't know if it was like maybe like a cultural difference, or a cultural
Mhm.
barrier. Maybe they felt more comfortable in that room, but I was like, hey, I'm gonna go in here and have conversations or something. But yeah, man, those clicks thing, it was just weird. I don't know what it was. It did it for my first 2 years especially. It felt more like it was like a high school atmosphere, and
Mm.
it was like that pushed me to want to live off campus. Once I got off campus, it was a little better. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I didn't
Okay.
really associate too much on campus. I mean, I would go to the library or the weight room, but it was never like go to the events like I did when
Mm.
I was a freshman, sophomore. I mean, no, not like that. But
I know what
yeah,
you mean. Yeah.
but I feel like that's maybe why. I mean, we never really got to, meet or, talk earlier on was probably that, oh, well, he's part of a different group, and, that, or he has a different interest in me, and there's no reason to associate. I don't know what it could have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Honestly, I think a part of it was probably just comfortability on all people's sides, like just kind of that survival's instinct in a way that
yeah,
we have inside of us where we're just comfortable and we don't want to face change or any uh
right.
open up our minds to anything. And I kind of wanted to segue into what you talked about or what you texted me
Yeah.
about how you feel that, speaking of separation, you said that we're separated as a society. Can you go on what you mean by that?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, just these days, and I don't have all the answers either. By no means am I saying that I do, but it's like I feel like we are separated. Everyone essentially is like, oh well, the world, has gone to shambles, and nothing really matters anymore. All you can really do is focus on yourself, and that's it. But I mean, we've seen what that does when you just focus on yourself, not really connected to what society is at that point. I mean, stuff goes bad, and people live day by day without realizing the struggles that other people in society have that, they may not. And, going back to that separation is like, we don't have those uncomfortable conversations anymore. It's like someone speaks their thoughts and it's like, oh, like you think like that, like, all right, like you're done. Like I'm not cutting you off. Like you if you think like that, then we don't have to associate. And it's like, all right, well, I have a different perspective, like,
Yeah.
tell me your perspective. Like it's kind of like instead of, you know, it's almost like questioning yourself to learn more so you can understand why they feel the way they do about you. And instead they just, kind of like, you know what, like we don't have to have this conversation. Like I know what kind of person you are by what you just said in those 3 sentences. And I'm just kind of like, that's, you're never going to get anywhere. We're going to keep being separated if that's the case. And we're never going to learn, to have those difficult, uncomfortable conversations, because you don't want to go there. So that's kind of what I meant by that.
Yeah, like just going back to clicks again, it makes me think about this, how the stereotypes and rumors, seep into people's minds. Like, oh, I don't want to hang around these theater kids because they're, I don't know, weird, or I don't want to hang around these soccer kids because all they do is, play sports or whatever. I don't know. It's just like, it's just those like preconceived notions that we have and just label them onto people. It's just kind of stupid. And then once you get to know them, it really is, it's like, oh, they're just like me. They're just like me for real.
Yeah. Like I would, tell friends like, oh yeah, I just got done studying with so-and-so. They're like, why are you studying with so-and-so? That, they're so-and-so, like weird or whatever. And I'm like we're in the same class. We're all trying to do the same thing. Like it's really not that deep. Like,
yeah.
we're just, we're just associating with one another. It at that point, it didn't even matter to me. Like I was like in college, I was so open to meeting, anyone really. And I met a lot of people during college, from MSU that I'm telling you, those people are interesting too. I say those people, I mean like that, but it's like, I met a lot of interesting people from MSU too. And that's because, I was open, to a lot of things that maybe other Bethany students would have been like, whoa, like they live like this, like not coming around this, and I was like, I mean, I've met some, pretty cool people in the journey that I had through college. So yeah.
Bro, I feel you with that. I feel you because I remember one time I was at a party and then I was just having a deep conversation with this person. He wasn't from Bethany, or I don't think he's from MSU either. I think he was like a dropout or something. But just hearing his story was so, it was just so relatable to what I was going through. I was like, dang, like this preconceived notion I had on this individual is just like shattered. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've had a lot of those things too, well, that happened to me. I'm like, oh, this person isn't, what I thought. And it's like, I can't believe I had that thought about them in the first place. I should have just been that, open-minded and, asked and conversed with them and, learn that way instead of having that, like you said, already in your head before you even know who they are.
Yeah, bro. Just going off that too, I feel like there are some people that I view as prideful on the outside, and it looks like they don't want to talk to any people. But truthfully, like from my experience, when I have approached them, they're just really shy. They're not prideful or anything. They're not trying to put up a facade or anything. They're just shy. I'm like, oh, snap, you're just shy, just like me.
Yeah, that's totally true. And maybe it's not even shy. Maybe it's just like, I mean, you're just going to class. I don't even know. Like,
yeah.
I've met people that, they say like, oh, you go to Bethany. Like I've seen you walk in the halls, obviously this is at a social gathering, right? We're like talking, they're like, oh, I've seen you at Bethany. Like, and so, you walk in Hansi Hall or whatever, but you always look, mad or whatever. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's 9 a.m. Like I'm going to a math course right now. And it's like, come on, what you want me to be smiling because I'm going to learn Math or what? Or it's like a history course or what? It's not like I love
Yeah.
having conversations with people. I would tell them like, hey, it's not even like that. It's just like I'm going to class. Like I don't know how I'm supposed to be. I just kind of have my headphones in, getting focused and mentally prepared. I was getting mentally prepared, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like that RBF, that wrestling face.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, yeah, probably, yeah. It's a
Yeah,
blessing and a curse, I guess.
it's a blessing. So that way people don't mess with you, and
Yeah, yeah. Honestly,
and it's a curse
yeah,
because people aren't gonna mess with you.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and just going off that text where you say you feel like nowadays it's like, oh, you think that way you're canceled. Uh I remember kind of having a conversation with someone else about society and how it's gone soft. Okay, I kind of want to hear your opinion. Why do you think that society has become so soft? I know that's kind of a tough question, so you can take your time to answer it.
Um, geez, I don't know. I don't know if it's like because I would think about that too, how, before, South Park would get a fly on everything, like on everything. I'm talking everything. But like I don't even know if it's still running or what is it, if it's still going on or what. But I mean, some of the stuff that they joked about back then, no way it would fly right now. And I've always asked myself the same thing, like, like what is, why did society become, more soft? And I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of reasons. I feel like we're more aware of
Mm,
maybe potentially offending different parties, and I think we're more into inclusion. uh
mm.
I don't know. I honestly really don't know. I mean, what were your thoughts on it when you had that conversation with that other person?
My thoughts, I think it's probably with what you said, you kind of answered it with being aware and how we just something to add on to that. I think it's also because we just have so much information at our fingertips now.
Yeah.
Like we've become so aware, and it's like one little thing, or the meaning. Like, did you know that the meaning behind the squirrel is racist towards Japanese people or something like that?
Right,
Stuff
right,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I mean, anything can really be, you know, I guess you're right. Yeah, that was a perfect example right there, what you just said. I mean, I don't know how much more clear I could put it. I mean, essentially what anything could be, offensive to anyone, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like how they say, I don't know, this is gonna sound like a weird comparison about how people say that basically anything causes cancer nowadays. It's
Yeah,
just like the more you know, it's kind of like the more it hurts in a way, It's like a blessing and a curse.
right, right. Yeah, like yeah, I mean you have all that information, and yeah, it makes one really cautious. That's actually a good way to explain it. It's like you're now more cautious essentially
Hmm.
because you don't want to, hurt others. I mean, in my, for me at least, I wouldn't want to offend anyone without, I just wouldn't wanna offend anyone. So definitely, being careful with what you say is key.
Yeah. And like it's tough too, because I mean, I don't know how much you watch comedians like, Dave Chappelle, for example.
Right.
Like, he thrived off of that. But like he can never get canceled at the same
Right.
time, which is, cool.
Yeah. Off of that, are you talking about that Netflix um series he put out or whatever?
Yeah, like the Netflix series or just anything that he said in general is like, he kind of thrives off, you know, making jokes about all people where
Right.
and then yeah, like I remember when he did put that one special out, which was controversial, you know, but
Yeah.
like at the same time, he's mentioned that he's made jokes about other people, not just this group of people.
Right. Yeah, I don't really know too much. I honestly don't watch a lot of Netflix, and
Mm.
I haven't even got to the Kanye documentary that was on there.
Oh,
Like,
you haven't, bro. Like you being a Kanye fan, I thought you would.
yeah, like I just don't have, it's very hard for me to watch shows. Like it's just super hard. So, but I did read a little about the, the Chappelle situation online on Twitter and stuff. And it's just kind of like, you're right. Like he can't be canceled. Like it's, I don't know what else that just that cancellation stuff is crazy. Like it's just crazy. I don't know. It's like you say you could, I mean, maybe that's why people are cautious because I don't know, like as a
Mm,
society, like if that happens to you, like I've read about what that, happening to an ordinary person. It's like, I mean, getting death threats, like
man.
all this other stuff, like losing your follower. I mean, who cares about losing your followers? But to the,
True.
these people are like, it's the end of the world for them. But it's kind of like, it's just crazy to think about how, people have actually gotten fired, from their, day job. Maybe they did say something out of pocket, or maybe, it was taken out of context, but they've got fired from their, day job because
Hey,
of
John.
what they said or what they, put out there. And it's just like mind blowing, like, whoa, like you got to be held accountable. So you
Like it definitely keeps people accountable, not to say racist out of pocket stuff, but at the same time, it's like everyone makes mistakes in the past, and
oh,
it's weird, man. It's weird.
yeah. Yeah, with that, it is. Everyone has made mistakes. And I mean, like you said, it was a different time back then. Um, I don't think, I don't know. I just, it
Yeah,
was a different time back then. Like, I had friends from all, from different races all the time. So it was like, I was comfortable with, being with other minorities and stuff.
yeah, I know what you mean. Kind of shifting gears now. After our speculation on why cancel culture and softness exists, just shifting gears. You said that something else on your mind is this identity crisis that
Right.
you've been fighting your whole life, essentially. So, can you go on what you mean by that?
Yeah. So it was like we're like for me, I'm a essentially a first generation American, because my parents were born in Mexico. They immigrated over here, and my older brother was born, I was born, and then my sister was, we were all born here. And you're in the United States, education system, and it's like, you go through it all up until high school, and you're like, whoa, like, so this whole time I was a part of this culture, but I'm not accepted, and I'm not actually from this culture. And then you go to, your roots and stuff, and you're like, um hey, like, I also am not from this place, and this is my culture, so you have
Mm.
that crisis. There is like, your whole life you're told you're Mexican, you're Mexican, you're Mexican, you're Mexican. And then you get to like, school when you're older, and it's like, you're American, you're American, you're American. And it's like, you were born here in America, so you're full on, American, and or you're 50% American, 50% Mexican. And or the other way around, it's like you're just Mexican, you're not American, you were just born here. And to some extent, I feel, I guess it is that way. Like, I feel like it is that way. Like I was born here, but the culture I was raised in was all like the Mexican culture. And I would go to school, but when I would come home, it was like a mini Mexico in my household, like
Mm.
we did everything a Mexican would do. I mean, my mom is fully from over there, and she grew up on a ranch out there. So I mean, we're straight from out there. And I mean, that's just kind of the crisis that, I've been going through, is like, kind of what I mentioned is like, for Mexicans, I'm too white to them to be a Mexican,
Mm.
and to white people, it's like, you're too Mexican to be,
Mm.
white person or American. I am white, but I mean, like, from the United States. And it's just kind of that, frustration too. It's kind of like, dude, like, I'm just living like not
Mm,
being accepted anywhere. And
right.
it's just kind of frustrating, you know?
I know what you mean because it's really not your fault.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
like you said, it's the school system, you know. Because I remember I used to speak a lot of my language, like Lao. I used to speak a lot of Lao when I was younger, but then
Yeah.
when I got into school, I started to lose some of it. You know, it's
Yeah.
English was taught. English was heavily, uh,
Yeah.
I don't want to say forced upon. That sounds weird, but it was heavily taught. Uh,
Yeah.
and I've just been speaking English grammar. Having learning proper grammar and stuff. Like it's not my fault,
Right.
but at the same time, I feel like it could be my responsibility and our responsibility to kind of go back to those roots as well, which
Yeah. And I
is
think I
challenging.
yeah, I think you're right. I think that you know, it was difficult because, and like I'm a Mexican, so I kind of know, the culture talk and stuff like that. But we have they're called no sabo kids, and
Okay.
they're basically, Mexican, first generation Americans like myself, but they can't, speak Spanish to save their
Mm,
life. Like they can't have they can say one, two words, but it's back to English, like not having that, full
mm,
conversation on. These kids get like slandered like hard because they
man.
can't speak Spanish. But it's kind of like, if you look about it, it's kind of that generational, you know you could say it's generational trauma because they essentially stripped a whole generation from speaking Spanish. I mean, because I remember being in school and having, other friends that were Mexican, and they, we would say things in Spanish, and it's like, no, like you can't speak Spanish, like you can't speak Spanish here in school, or you're here in the United States, and
Man.
it's like, geez, like I remember
Dang.
that being a kid, like I was like, what? Like I can't even speak my language. Like that's
Wow.
insane. Because Spanish was my first language. Well, it is my first language because I mean I speak it, properly. Like I can have a full on conversation. I can speak Spanish for days, But there's other kids, that they can say, answer you sí or no, and then es que, and then they start, speaking English, and it's like they get lots of, a lot of hate, but it's like kind of what you said. It's like not your fault. It's not their
Mhm.
fault. It's not, any part.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of just, you're in that school system and it's English 100% of the time.
Hmm. Yeah, man. Because sometimes I'll be trying to talk to my grandma in Lao,
Yeah.
and it'll sound very broken and slow, and then she'll just laugh and say, "Just talk English to me." I'm just like, "No,
Yeah.
I want to speak loud to you. I want to, get back into my roots, get back to my language." And it's hard though, but it's as long as I put that effort into, keep trying, hopefully I
Right.
can like speak loud. Cause I mean, you said you can speak like full Spanish and you can have full conversation in Spanish. You're not a No Sabo kid.
No, I'm not. No,
Okay.
I don't. I would not say I am. No, because I mean, when I talk to my mom, it's full on Spanish. Like my uncles, it's full on Spanish. Like, sometimes I toy with them and speak to them in English just to get their gears grinding and stuff. But it's like, they think it's funny because they sometimes respond to me in English, and especially to them, I'm like, they think I'm a whitewashed kid, and I'm like, you guys have no idea how much, pride I have in our culture and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
yeah, just kind of going, back to that. I don't consider myself a no sabo kid. Definitely not.
That's
Like
good.
yo puedo hablar español muy bien, like for real.
I think I understood what you said. You said you know Spanish very well.
Yeah, or I can speak
Yeah,
Spanish very well.
you can speak Spanish very well. Yeah, Spanish 3, high school.
Yeah, yeah, but it's that, that battle, and that, people, who were, their parents brought them here, or they were here before, or they immigrated here and then they had kids. I mean, we were just kind of put in that position, like we have this
Mhm.
saying, we're not from over there, nor we're from here. And it's kind of like, kind of lives up to that, because that's what I feel, when I heard that the first time, it
Mhm.
was like, damn, like that's really how I feel. It's like, I'm not from over there, but I am. I'm not from here, but I am, so it's like,
Mhm.
it's just kind of that, that identity crisis that one faces, and also especially like around, Mankato and, Southwest Minnesota. It's, there's a lot of towns that are predominantly white people, like
Mm-hmm.
even um in Marshall, where my family and where I was born and raised, and my whole family is. I mean, that essentially was like a sundown city. I mean, if you don't know what that is, I mean, you got to look into that. And that's just like crazy to me. The fact that we're here and essentially we're not accepted, and
Mm-hmm.
when you're not accepted, what you do is, you go out and you try to change who you are to seek validation
Mm.
from people that are, predominant in that area. And it's like, I've seen people who are more Mexican than me, totally completely forget their culture and where they
Man.
come from. And it's like, dude, like, you don't know how beautiful, our culture is, and how proud of you, how proud of you should be of it. Because it's like, it's essentially, you were brainwashed to think that you were a problem and your culture was a
Mm.
problem, and the right way to do it is the culture here in the United States.
Mm. Mm. That's good. Yeah, like if any young kid is listening to this that's, Mexican or Asian or just not from America, yo, that's good what you said. It's kind of like a reminder to like, don't be ashamed of your culture. I like that.
Yeah, like, you gotta be proud of where you come from, because I mean, for me at least, it's very important for, Spanish to be passed down to my kids, and I do want Spanish to be their first language. So
Mm.
that's something that, when I do have kids, not anytime soon, hopefully, I feel like that's gonna be like implemented uh right from the start. Is just that, hey, look, we're speaking Spanish for the baby to get, you know, control of that language, that native tongue. So, going back to that, it's like, yeah, be proud of who you are, and don't change for, anyone, especially don't change to seek validation from, other cultures. I mean, every culture has their, something to offer, and something to bring to the table, and it's just, kind of what you take from it.
Right. Just going off on that real quick. I remember lunchtime, I would come with my Lao food. All the kids would kind of just stare or just question like what is he bringing? And then like I would see them with Lunchables. I'm like, I want that. I want Lunchables. I want to bring Lunchables to lunch.
Yeah, it was like that. I honestly do. Like I said, for me, what I stated before, I'm not saying I didn't do that. Like I said, there was times where I did do that. I
Yeah.
went, and I was like part of, when I was in high school, especially, I felt like I tried to be that white kid, and it's
Oh
like,
no.
I was like down bad. Like, I would get these, what are they called? The Nike runner shoes. Every kid in the school had those, or the Sperry's, and they would switch out
Okay.
depending on what they would wear. And it's like, I had those pair of shoes, and I mean, I'm just lucky that, you know, from there into where I am now, I have, got past that point. I don't seek validation from anyone. I feel super connected to my culture and my roots and stuff. So I'm happy with, the improvement I made from there, and to where I am now. Even I'm even considering and looking into actually, getting my Mexican citizenship too.
Oh, let's
So
go.
that's something that it's a goal of mine. So
Oh, that's
that's kind of
awesome.
where I'm at in that, battle. You know, I don't even know if it's a battle anymore. I think I already, kind of conquered it, but it's more for,
Nice.
other people that, find that struggle, oh, I gotta act this way around certain people, or I gotta act this way around certain people. Like, just be yourself all the time. Like, that's what I started doing. I had my brother always tells me, he's someone that I look up to. He's always like, who cares what people think and who you are? And I just kind of take that advice, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna, I love connecting with people, but yeah, I'm essentially be myself the whole time.
Mm,
Yeah.
love that. I love how that kind of came back full circle too with, with people being in cliques and like, who cares? Like, of trying to, impress these people in these different cliques. Just be yourself, and everyone is the same, essentially.
Right.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everyone is the same. We're all just literally going through life.
right.
Essentially what it is, man.
That's awesome. Wow, this was a great conversation. I feel like we got so much in a shorter amount of time than like I expected, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely good conversation, man.
All right, Sammy. So to close us off, do you have anywhere where people can follow you at and check
Uh,
you out? Anything you
yeah,
want to
you can
plug?
just follow me on Instagram. That's usually number one thing I use. I don't really, give out my Twitter or Facebook like that, but it's just Sammy Duran, Sammy DRN. So it's SAMMYDRN. So yeah.
Sweet. And if y'all want to follow me, just follow me at Emmanuel LKD on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Uh, Find me on Spotify and Apple Music. And also, leave a like, comment, subscribe to LKD Talks. Really helps the channel out a lot. And, I'm excited for these next conversations. And yo, Sammy, thank you for hopping on during your break, man. This is a great conversation. And do you
Yeah,
have
man.
any final words you want to say?
No, not really. Just stay true to yourself and be proud of who you are.
Awesome. And with that being said, hope y'all have a great rest of your week and take care. Peace out, y'all.